taught me from a young age. Said you gotta get them before they get you. She led us with love. The world is an evil place, she said. And I was there. I was there when she took her final breath. She said, you're the one. She said, they chose you long before you were ever existed.
The story of Sister Abigail has been a mystery that has intrigued WWE fans for years. Ever since we first saw the character Bray Wyatt, he spoke of this mythical-like creature, Sister Abigail, the person who raised him, who nurtured him, who treated him, and taught him the way. And apart from one brief stint on WWE TV a few years ago where Bray Wyatt played Abigail, and more recently when we saw Alexa Bliss become Sister Abigail, seemingly for one night only, we haven't really had a lot of information about who Sister Abigail is. Will she be a wrestler? Will she be a manager? What is her role? We haven't ever discovered that, except we may have done over time. Over time, we have had a lot of clues as to her identity. And they've come in the form of Bray Wyatt's old promos. Of course, throughout Bray Wyatt's character's existence, we have heard him mention Abigail a lot. So I thought it would be a fun video to kind of compile everything we know about Sister Abigail, the key points at least, and kind of try to connect some dots by doing just that. But before the video starts, if you aren't already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. Of course, hit the like button, share the video so your friends can find it, and turn on notifications because the next Big Theory video is October 31st on Halloween.
He's got the whole world in his hands.
Run.
Of course, we got to talk about the more recent apparition, if you will, of Sister Abigail. Of course, in the form of Alexa Bliss taking on that role. At Extreme Rules, the horror show, in the swamp fight, we saw Alexa Bliss portray Abigail. Or we saw Abigail portray Alexa Bliss, whichever way round you want to look at it. Alexa appeared, and the reason she appeared was to actually interrupt the match and distract Braun Strowman. She actually appeared, so Braun Strowman then stopped and listened to what she said. And this gave us the first big clue as to actually who Sister Abigail was. We know Sister Abigail isn't alive. Bray's told us that she's already dead. So we assume that this was some kind of spirit that took on the form of Alexa Bliss to then calm Braun Strowman down. Why did she do that? Because to Braun, Alexa is his sister Abigail. She is the person who, most of all, Braun would listen to. So straight away we can say that this entity, which is Abigail, can take on the role of anyone. We've seen her be portrayed by Bray Wyatt in the past, and of course this was more like Bray was possessed by Abigail, so we can kind of say that it doesn't have a gender boundary, that Abigail can be male or female, and there isn't an issue with that, but it's the person that is most responsive to the person that they're trying to interrupt. The person that Abigail wants to interfere with most, their Abigail is their weakness. It's a cool way to maybe think that Bray can use Abby in this way as a weapon. Now, in one of Bray's most famous promos, of course, from Superstar Ghost Stories, this is probably the most famous because recent times it's come true that when he describes the man in the woods, it's the Fiend. But what's interesting in this story is what he says about Sister Abigail. Of course, Bray stands in the woods and talks about his childhood from when Sister Abigail was alive and when he first discovered the man in the woods / the Fiend. Of course, Abigail identified the Fiend. Abigail is the one who told Bray he was the man in the woods. Abigail was the one that Bray run to. So right there we get that parental figure. Of course, we then get this person who's been able to identify the Fiend in Bray Wyatt. She knew all along that he was the Fiend. Well, how does she know? Well, maybe we take the literal term of sister as in a nun, but instead of being just a nun who worships God, well, she was a nun who worshipped the devil. And this was an evil cult-like sect. And her job was to sort of love and nurture baby Bray Wyatt so he could grow up to become the demon, the monster, the fiend that he was always destined to be. Maybe that is Sister Abigail's role in The Fiend. Maybe she wasn't a dark, deathly entity, instead being someone that had to make sure that a prophecy was actually reached and actually was delivered. Now, of course, we also see Abby portrayed in the Firefly Funhouse in the form of the puppet, Abby the Witch. Of course, this led straight away to us thinking that maybe there could be someone that dons the Abby the Witch costume and portrays Sister Abigail that way. Of course, we haven't seen that exactly yet, but one thing to really mention here is that Abby's main role in the original Funhouse was actually outside of it. She was never inside the Funhouse. Remember the original episodes? This is the main part where the story was being told, and she was on the outside looking in. And Bray's relationship with her was very interesting. In the first few episodes, she comes across as domineering, that parental figure once again that Bray Wyatt cowers to. Bray Wyatt was like scared of Abby the Witch when she was telling him to keep it down and stuff. He was listening. And as the Firefly Funhouse episodes progressed, it became more evident that the Fiend was taking over Bray, which you could see with his relationship with Abby. All of a sudden, Bray wasn't scared of Abby anymore, and he was telling her what to do. And it was a very quick role reversal that could be important. Because we've always known that Bray Wyatt has said he was with Abigail when she took her final breath. So we know she's dead, but what if Bray was with her and all of a sudden Bray went bye-bye and we got the Fiend emerge from Bray and the Fiend killed Sister Abigail. Whatever incarnation of Abigail that was, the Fiend killed her, and that was her prophecy complete. Now she still has to look over Bray Wyatt to try and keep him safe, knowing that she loves him, but there's a demon within him. Because if you had the power to stay with someone that you cared for and loved, would Abigail really go? Or would she stay with Bray to try and keep him safe forever? And maybe that's why, even as the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, he still pays tribute and honours her with a Sister Abigail and a kiss every time he delivers the move. Maybe this is a way to deliver some kind of tribute to that parental guardian that Bray once had. Now, yesterday, Alexa Bliss took to Twitter and tweeted out, "Hello, Abby. I'm Alexa." Of course, with a gif of her and Bray both performing the Sister Abigail move on Raw. And this got me thinking of this theory, that maybe it's completely innocent, that Alexa's just gone to the Firefly Funhouse like we all hoped and thought she might, and maybe she's met the Abby the Witch puppet, and she was simply saying hello via a cryptic tweet. But the tweet clearly shows the move Sister Abigail. Again, it's a move we've seen Alexa hitting on this journey of her changing character. Again, if this move is some way a tribute to Abigail, and Alexa's been delivering it the exact same way Bray Wyatt has, maybe this is a way to get Abigail to let Alexa in. Maybe this is a way that Alexa joins that cult. Maybe this is a way that Abigail will then care for Alexa. Of course, from Superstar Ghost Stories again, we know Bray Wyatt wasn't alone in the woods with Abigail. He was with his brothers and sisters, the friends, the cult, whatever it was. And we also know that Braun Strowman was there too. He was a gift from Abigail to Bray and the Wyatt family. But not only that, Bray's called him brother on many, many times. So we've always assumed that Braun Strowman was there in the woods, in that cabin with Abigail. And fantasy booking, all three of these people are on Raw. Braun, Alexa and Bray were all drafted to Monday nights. Now, short-term booking, yes, they could do something very quickly if they wanted to. But long-term, Eventually, they could either unite the brothers and sisters against the Fiend in order to try and help Bray Wyatt, or they could have the brothers and sisters unite behind the Fiend under the guise of Sister Abigail to then have the family reunited, introducing the new Wyatt family. Faction-wise, it could make a bit of sense. I've got no idea if that's the way this is going to go. As I said, it's just fantasy booking. But I do love the idea that Abigail sacrificed her life for something she believed in. She gave everything to give Bray Wyatt the best start in life and ultimately taught him everything he needed to know for the future to take over the universe with the power inside him that we now call the Fiend. I think it's kind of poetic and kind of cool. And with Bray paying tribute to her, it makes sense. And of course, because of the most recent apparition of Sister Abigail, I think it's very likely we will see Sister Abigail in WWE at some point. I don't think we'll see someone actually say, "Hello, I'm Sister Abigail, I'm the next women's champion." But I think it's potentially possible that over the future feuds of Bray Wyatt or even Alexa Bliss now, that we see Sister Abigail take on this role of interrupting and calming down their opponents so they can gain the advantage. Things will not work out the way the opponent will want because Abigail is a weapon for Bray and Alexa to use. Potentially, she could be anybody on the main roster. Hell, if it's Randy Orton that Bray Wyatt's feuding with, it could be Ric Flair because he would be Randy Orton's Abigail. Silly, but it could be true. But let me know your thoughts about Sister Abigail in the comment section of the main video. Of course, if you are new to the channel, as we mentioned earlier, hit the subscribe button, turn on those notifications, and of course, be ready. Halloween, it's coming very close, and the video looks awesome. I've been working on it for a few weeks now already, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that. Of course, like this video. I will see you as always next time. Peace!